Hi all, welcome to my channel once again, and today we are going to talk about PSM, Professional Scrum Master. So in this video we will have questions on Agile Scrum Master Certification exams, which could be useful if you are planning to give your certification exam in Agile for Scrum Master, which is PSM exam. Agile and Scrum, I think we are all aware, so we are not going to really talk about those things in details. So let's look at some basic and some advanced questions in this video. All right. So welcome to Positive Vibes 21 again, and in this video we are going to cover those questions, and you can check your knowledge whether you are really ready for the exams or you need more practice. I'm sure if you go through entire video, by the end of the video you will have better understanding and clarity on the questions around PSM, Professional Scrum Master. Okay, so without any delay, let's start the presentation, and let's look at the first question. And yes, if you like this video, please do comment, provide your feedback, subscribe the channel, like the videos, and share it with your friends and colleagues. Thank you in advance for watching this video. Let's start. Let's look at the question number 1 now. So question number 1 is, what is the primary responsibility of the Scrum Master? There are 4 options: managing the project schedule, ensuring that Scrum is being followed and helping the team to improve, writing user stories, creating the product backlog. So by the time I go through the options, I'm sure you would have guessed the correct answer. So let's now look at the right answer. The right answer is option B, which is ensuring that Scrum is being followed and helping the team to improve. Hope you guessed it correctly. Let's look at the second question. Second question is, what is the purpose of the daily Scrum? So we have these daily Scrum meetings, right, which are also called as stand-ups. So what is the purpose of those daily Scrum meetings? To provide updates to stakeholders. Option B, to review the work completed during the sprint. Option C, to inspect progress towards the sprint goal and adapt the plan for the next 24 hours, which is like for next day, right? And to resolve any conflicts in the team. So let's look at the right answer now. The right answer is option C, to inspect progress towards the sprint goal and adapt the plan for next 24 hours. Because see, the daily stand-up is usually for 15 minutes, right? And in those 15 minutes, we as a Scrum Masters focus mainly on what are the impediments and what are we going to do in next 24 hours, basically next day, right? So we need to inspect the progress from past day and then plan for the next day. Okay, so let's look at the question 3 now. Which of the following is true about the Scrum Master? The Scrum Master is a project manager. Option B, the Scrum Master ensures the development team and product owner work together. The Scrum Master is the team leader and makes all decisions for the Scrum team. Option D, the Scrum Master is responsible for delivering the product increment. So of course, look at the options and you can easily find out that probably you can also try to implement the rule of elimination, that okay, let's say first option cannot be the right answer, right? Because it's not a project manager thing. Similarly, Scrum Master is not really responsible for delivering the product increment, option D. So now it's something between B and C, correct? Scrum Master is the team leader and makes all decisions for the Scrum team. That's also not the correct answer. So now we are left with only one option. Let's look at the right answer, which is option B. The Scrum Master ensures the development team and product owner work together. So development team is like basically the team who is part of that Scrum team, right? They are called development team, and product owner is obviously the bridge who is really explaining the business requirements to the team. So as a Scrum Master, his main responsibility is that development team and product owner work together. So in case of any doubts, they can reach out to product owner, and product owner should be able to clarify all those doubts related to business requirements, right? Let's move on. Question 4 is, who is responsible for the sprint backlog? The Scrum Master, the product owner, the development team, the Scrum team. So when we say who is responsible, right? It's a tricky question, by the way. So when you look at the sprint backlog, probably you will think about product owner as the right answer, right? Because product owner is responsible for setting up the priorities in the backlog. But in a way, I think development team is still responsible for the sprint backlog. Yes, that's the right answer. So please let me know in the comment section if you disagree and what's your supporting comment there. Because I'm sure a lot of people will say that no, this is not the right answer. The right answer is product owner. But I don't agree with them, because here it is talking about who is responsible for the sprint backlog. Product owner is not responsible. Development team is responsible for sprint backlog, right? Because they have to deliver the results within the sprint's duration. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Question 5. What is the purpose of the sprint retrospective? A, to define the sprint goal. B, to review the product increment. C, to reflect on the sprint process and identify improvements for the next sprint. Or option D, to plan the next sprint. So in retrospective, what as a Scrum Master we do is we look at the sprint which was recently completed, or probably it's near completion, and then we see what went wrong, what did we learn, what could have been done better, so it's like retrospecting the things which we did in the past, right, in the previous sprint. So with that understanding, if you again look at the options to define the sprint goal, no, defining the sprint goal is not part of the retrospective, because this is done when we start the sprint, right? To review the product increment, okay, this is something probably we do it in backlog refinement or sprint planning. Then option C, to reflect on the sprint process and identify improvements for the next sprint. And option D, to plan the next sprint. So this is clearly a sprint planning. But option C, because it says to reflect on the process and identify any improvement areas for the next sprint, right? So this should be the right answer. Let's look at it. Yeah, so the right answer is option C, because this is where we take a pause and we look at our previous sprint, what we could have improved and what are the learnings from the previous sprint, where our processes need improvement. So yeah, this is the correct answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What is a product increment in Scrum? Okay, so we talk about all these Scrum terms, right? Agile and Scrum terminologies. So when you hear product increment, what does it mean? Is it to define the sprint goal, or it's the sum of all the product backlog items completed during the sprint, or the first working prototype of the product, or a single product backlog item that was finished? So let's take some time and find out the right answer. So the right answer is option B. So product increment in Scrum is called the sum of all the product backlog items completed during a sprint, because it is in a form of iterative way, right? So every sprint we evolve the product and then we reach probably towards the end of the final product, right? So after each sprint we deliver some sort of incremental value, right? So this is the right answer. The sum of all the product backlog items completed during a sprint is called product increment. Fine. Let's move to the next question now. Question 7. How often should the Scrum team inspect and adapt their working practices? Is it every 2 weeks, or at the end of each sprint, or at the beginning of each sprint, or only when a problem arises? So of course, option D cannot be the right answer. So let's ignore it and let's find out the correct answer. Just read it again, think about it, and then provide the right answer. The right answer is option B, because it is something we already discussed in retrospective, correct? So towards the end of the each sprint, we do inspection and adaptation, and that is done as part of the retrospective activity, correct? So this is the related question. So this question could be asked in different ways. So you need to remember what is the objective of retrospective and what do we do there? We inspect and adapt. Okay, let's move to question number 8. What is the time box for a sprint review meeting? All right, so in a sprint and a scrum ceremonies, you know that all these scrum ceremonies and we talk about time boxing everything, correct? Even for stand-ups also we have a time box of 15 minutes. It depends, like if it's a larger team, probably it could be 30 minutes sometimes, but yeah, usually we talk about time boxing every meeting. So for a sprint review meeting, what is the right answer? Is it 1 hour for 1 month sprint, 2 hours for 2 weeks sprint, 4 hours for 1 month sprint, or 1 day for 1 month sprint? This is, I think, a straightforward question. And the right answer is 4 hours for 1 month sprint, which means if your sprint duration is 1 month, you will probably spend almost around 4 hours, not more than that. And similarly, if it is like 2 weeks sprint, then yeah, it will be reduced accordingly. Okay, let's move on. Question number 9. What does the Scrum Master do during sprint planning? During the sprint planning, option A creates the sprint backlog. Okay. Option B sets the sprint goal. Option C ensures that the Scrum team understands the purpose of the sprint and facilitates the meeting. And D decides what work the team will complete. So for sure, option D, Scrum Master will not decide what work can be completed by the team, right? Sets the sprint goal, yeah, not sure, but yeah, let's find out the right answer. Look at it, think about it, and then guess the right answer, and then we'll see the right answer in a moment. The right answer is option C. Yes, you guessed it right, because it is about Scrum Master role itself is all about facilitating the meetings, right? He will not guide or he will not tell the team what to do, basically. So as you see, it talks about facilitating the meeting and ensuring that the Scrum team understands the purpose, right? He is an Agile champion, so he probably educates as well at the same time, right? That they understand the concept, they understand the purpose of the sprint, and then they plan the sprint accordingly. And rest of the roles are mostly with development team and product owner as well. Okay. Hope it was clear. Let's move to question number 10 now. Which of the following is not an event in Scrum? So we know there are certain Scrum ceremonies, right? And out of these 4 options, sprint planning, sprint review, product backlog refinement, and sprint retrospective, which is not an event in Scrum? So the right answer is product backlog refinement. Okay, this is not an event. The sprint planning is event, sprint review is event, sprint retrospective is event. So with the rule of elimination, it is option C, product backlog refinement. That's not an event. Question 11. What does the term self-organizing mean in Scrum? Self-organizing. When we hear about self-organizing, it is basically for the development team. Okay. So let's guess the right answer out of these 4. The Scrum Master organizes the team. So if a Scrum Master organizes the team, that is not self-organizing, right? So that is out of the option. The development team organizes itself and decides how to accomplish the work. Okay. Option C, the product owner is responsible for organizing the team. Again, like option A, it is also not the correct answer. So let's ignore option C as well. Last one, the Scrum team receives directives from management on how to organize the work. Again, it's also, not the right answer. So the right answer is option B. The development team organizes itself and decides how to accomplish the work. That is the term, right? Self-organizing. Hope it's clear. It's sort of self-explanatory also. I mean, If you read it carefully, you will be able to find the right answer yourself. Moving on to question 12. What is the maximum duration of a sprint in Scrum? Okay. So as we know, usually sprints are of like different durations depending upon the organization and the project size, right? But there has to be a maximum duration time. Like it cannot be running forever, right? So the maximum time of a sprint, 2 weeks is not maximum, 3 weeks is not maximum, 6 weeks or 1 month. Yeah, so the right answer should be for any sprint, I think it should not really exceed more than a month, right? 6 weeks is even more than 1 month. So yeah, 1 month or probably less than that should be the ideal duration. It is usually 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay, let's move to question 13. Who's responsible for managing the product backlog? Okay, so this is interesting question. Again, I think we had a similar question in the starting of the video, but that was I think something else. But in this case, so who is responsible for managing the product backlog, right? The Scrum Master, the development team, the product owner, the stakeholders. So the right answer is product owner, because as we already discussed in the previous question, somewhere in the starting of the video, the managing of the product backlog, that responsibility lies with the product owner, right? Because he will tell you that which items are on priority. I think the previous question was on sprint backlog, if I'm correct. But this one is for product backlog. So product backlog, sprint backlog, these are two different things. A sprint backlog is the backlog which you are working in that sprint. But the product backlog is which is like having the stories for future sprints, right? So here we are talking about the product backlog. So product owner is responsible for managing the product backlog. Okay, let's move on. Question number 14. How does the Scrum Master help the development team to improve? How does the Scrum Master help the development team to improve? Okay, first option, by managing the team's workload. No, of course not. He will not share the workload from team. He can, but it's not like in his roles and responsibilities, right? Option B, by providing direct solutions to technical problems. Of course, he can if he is technical enough, but that's not his role, right? Option C and option D. So option D is by creating and maintaining the sprint backlog. Again, it is not Scrum Master's job. So option C, by facilitating. So wherever you see facilitating or facilitating the meeting, right? I think that gives you a hint that, okay, this could be the right answer, but still let's read it completely, right? By facilitating collaboration, fostering a safe environment, and removing impediments. So if you see all these three terms, right? Facilitating, collaboration, fostering a safe environment, and most importantly, removing impediments. These are all Scrum Master's job, right? His roles and responsibilities. So the right answer is undoubtedly option C. Hope it is clear. So next one is question 15. What is the purpose of the product backlog? Okay. So there are four options: to list all the tasks required to complete the product, to define the vision and roadmap of the product, to list the requirements, features, and improvements of the product ordered by priority, to record the sprint goal. Okay. So as you can understand, I think we have discussed product backlog already. And the right answer is to list the requirements, features, and improvements for the product ordered by priority. If you remember, I had commented that product owner will decide the priority of the backlog, right? That which is on top priority based on the value addition from customer's point of view, right? So obviously he will reorder and keep the product backlog always in order of priority in terms of business value. So this is the right answer. Next question. The Scrum Master notices that during a sprint, the development team consistently fails to complete their committed work. Okay, so that means that probably in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever duration they have pulled the stories, planned the sprint, Sprint planning was done, they started the sprint, but then they couldn't really complete all the stories within that sprint duration. So what should Scrum Master do? Immediately assign additional tasks to the development team to speed up delivery. Okay, interesting. The next option, review with the team why the commitment was not met and help them identify improvements in their process. Okay. Ask the product owner to reduce the scope for the next sprint. All right. Replace team members who are underperforming. So clearly option A and D are not making any sense, right? And option C is also like ask the product owner to reduce the scope. He cannot really direct or instruct product owner, right? But if you look at the option B, it says review with the team why the commitment was not met and help them. So here looks like he's trying to help the team to identify the improvements, which is also impediment, and then probably improve the process itself, right? So I think it clearly says the right answer should be option B, because here it is talking about the things which lies under his roles and responsibility as well. Hope it is clear. Let's move on. Next question. Which of the following is the most appropriate action for a Scrum Master to take when the development team is unable to meet its goals because of frequent external interruptions, right? So what happens is this external interruptions could be from top management, from outside the team, from, let's say, project managers, kind of people, it could be anything. So if those are the reasons because of which development team is not able to complete their goals or meet their goals, what should be the most appropriate action for a Scrum Master? Option A, reduce the size of the development team to avoid confusion. Ask the product owner to prioritize the external interruptions. Help the team set boundaries and protect them from distractions. Report the interruptions to management so that team can be given more time. So again, looking at the options, option A doesn't make sense. Option B again doesn't make sense. Option D is also not really the one. But if you look at the option C, it says help the team set boundaries and then protect them from distractions, right? This is like removing impediments, right? So this is more, I think, suitable option, I would say. Let's look at it. Yeah, that's the right answer. Hope it is clear. Let's move on to question number 18. The Scrum Master facilitates the sprint retrospective and the team discusses an issue that repeatedly impacts their ability to deliver the product increment, right? I hope you remembered product increment. It was covered in the previous questions. So what is the best next step for the Scrum Master? Okay. So sprint retrospective was facilitated by Scrum Master. We as a team discussed that, okay, we have identified an issue that is kind of causing some sort of distraction, right? So the first option is immediately provide a solution to the issue. Second is focus the conversation on the issue for the entire retrospective. Help the team identify root causes and create actionable improvements. Ask the product owner to handle the issue after the retrospective. I'm sure you can take a pause and then come back with the right answer. And meanwhile, we will tell you the right answer. Right answer is help the team identify root causes and create actionable improvements. I think this is clear, right? This is how a Scrum Master takes any action out of retrospective discussions, and then once we identify the problems, this is how we create actions and then we work on those improvements. Okay. Question number 19. The Scrum team has completed a sprint, but the product owner is not available to attend the sprint review. What should the Scrum Master do? Okay, so it's like really a very good question, I would say. We have to be very careful while answering this one. Let's look at the options and review it carefully. First one is postpone this sprint review until the product owner is available. Okay. B, proceed with the sprint review as planned and invite the product owner to review the work later. Then cancel the sprint review and request the team to start a new sprint. The Scrum Master should conduct the review and decide which work is considered done. I'm sure, we would like to probably think about it and take more time. So please take your time and then think about the right answer. Meanwhile, I can tell you that cancel the sprint review and request the team to start a new sprint cannot be a good option. So let's ignore this one and think about the best one out of the available ones. Shall we look at the right answer now? Okay, so the right answer is proceed with the sprint review as planned and invite the product owner to review the work later. I'll tell you why. So option A, obviously we cannot postpone the sprint review because of the fact that product owner is not available, right? Because it involves so many stakeholders, customer, development team, scrum master. So if one person is not available, entire sprint review cannot be postponed, of course, right? And it cannot be cancelled as well. We already ruled out this option. The last one was the scrum master should conduct the review and decide which work is considered done. So obviously a scrum master is not the person who can decide on behalf of product owner, right? So the only option is here, option B, proceed with the sprint review as planned and then let product owner review the work later. So if he has any, let's say, comments or any feedback, he can always come back to the development team and say that, hey, look at this work, this was not considered done. We will have to prioritize it in the next sprint, for example, right? So that can be done later on. Let's move to question number 20. How should a Scrum Master handle a situation where the development team is repeatedly ignoring the definition of done during the sprint? Now, so here, definition of done, that is a new term probably for few of you. I'm sure most of you would be aware. But those who do not know, definition of done is like, okay, when we say that our story or our task is marked as done, so there has to be some checklist or some definition which can define whether the story can be marked as done or not. That is called definition of done, right? So if a Scrum Master has a situation where team is kind of ignoring the definition of done during the sprint, okay, so what should he do? First option, enforce a stricter DoD criteria by increasing quality checks. Collaborate with the team to discuss the importance of DoD and why it's crucial for quality. Yes. Suggest removing the DoD so the team has more flexibility. Ask the product owner to adjust the DoD for the next sprint. Okay. So option A, enforce a stricter DoD criteria. It's not correct answer because obviously team is not able to meet or achieve the DoD. If you make it even stricter, will it make any sense? No, right? Similarly, suggest removing the DoD will also not help because obviously if somebody is not really able to follow DoD, that doesn't mean that you remove DoD itself, right? Definition of done. Then obviously you don't have any criteria which will define how it can be marked as completed. So that is also not the right answer. Ask the product owner to adjust the DoD for the next sprint. It's like, okay, you are sort of postponing it for the next sprint, which is not a great idea. So the right answer should be option B, which is collaborate again. So just look for those terms: collaborate, facilitate, improvement, helping, assisting, right? So here, those could be the right answers. So collaborate with the team to discuss the importance of DoD. So here he is being an agile champion, right? He is also trying to educate and implement the agile principles within the team so that they understand and then they start following it because of the reason that it's really crucial for the quality purpose, right? Hope it is clear. I hope the explanation makes sense. Let's move on. Question number 21. In a large-scale Scrum, which is also called LESS, like LESS framework. So there are, by the way, there are different frameworks, right, in Agile. Like we have Scrum, we have LESS, we have Lean. There are so many terms. I'm sure you would be aware. So how does the Scrum Master assist multiple Scrum teams working on the same product? So let's say there are large scale Scrum framework and Scrum Master has to assist multiple Scrum teams who are working on the same product. How does he do it? Option A, the Scrum Master helps individual teams optimize their processes and resolve issues. The Scrum Master coordinates between the teams to ensure consistency of progress towards the overall product goal. The Scrum Master assigns work to each team and ensures they stay on schedule. The Scrum Master ensures that each team has its own separate backlog and doesn't interact with the other teams. Okay, let's look at the right answer, which is option B. The Scrum Master coordinates. So remember, look for those keywords. Coordinates between the teams to ensure consistency of progress towards the overall product goal. Because now multiple teams are working on the same product, right? So all those teams should be really working towards the overall product goal. So I think that's the reason this is the right answer. Okay, moving on. Question number 22. During the sprint review, the development team demonstrates a completed product increment. Another question on product increment, by the way. So, however, the product owner realizes that the increment doesn't fully meet the business need. Okay, what should the Scrum Master do? Option A, suggests that the team demonstrate the work again after making changes to meet the business need. Facilitate a discussion to understand why the business need was not fully met and help the team identify improvements. Next option, ask the development team to rework the increment outside of the sprint review meeting. Last option, end the sprint review early and schedule another meeting for the next day. So while I was reading those options, I'm sure you would have guessed the right one, and the right answer is option B. Again, look for those keywords, right? Facilitate, improvements. So facilitate a discussion to understand. So as a Scrum Master, first you need to understand what is the problem. Why was it not done? Why? These are the key questions which we need to ask team, right? And then we need to help the team identify improvements. So that's why option B is the right answer here. Question 23. A Scrum Master notices that during the daily Scrum, some development team members are dominating the discussion, while others barely contribute. What should the Scrum Master do? So yeah, it's a common thing, I guess, where we have relatively, let's say, new team members in the team, and there are, let's say, senior people in the team, veterans, right, who have a lot of experience, knowledge as well. So they sometimes might look as dominating the discussions, right? So yeah, this is a practical situation. So what should he do in this case? Interrupt the dominant members and ask the quieter members to speak. Attend the daily Scrum, but stay neutral, avoiding any interference. Coach the team on the purpose of the daily Scrum and encourage equal participation from all members. Or ask the development team to have a separate meeting for the quieter members. So obviously this doesn't make sense. So let's rule out the option D. And option B is also not a great idea. Attend the daily Scrum but stay neutral. You cannot be just in good books for everyone. You can't really avoid interference. Option A, interrupt the dominant members and ask the quieter members to speak. I mean, obviously that's not a good idea, right? Because you can't just force somebody to keep quiet and force somebody to speak up. So it looks like option C could be the right answer, which says coach the team, because Scrum Master's job is also to facilitate, coach, motivate, right? So the right answer is coach the team on the purpose of the daily Scrum and encourage equal participation from all members, right? So without targeting anybody, without interrupting, without asking team to have a separate meeting, all these things are not the right answer. The right answer is this one, option C. Hope it's clear. Let's move on. In a Scrum team, there is a constant conflict between the product owner and the development team regarding the prioritization of the product backlog items. What is the best approach for the Scrum Master? That's also a common thing which could happen sometimes. Product owner and development teams might not agree. They might have a conflict over the prioritization, because let's say if development team is working on certain feature and if they feel that okay, it's almost done, we just need to pick another story from the backlog and then we can complete the entire functionality. But maybe from product owner's point of view, that doesn't really add a value, or probably that has gone low in priority and something else has been more having more value, right, in terms of business. So in those cases where a conflict occurs, what could Scrum Master do? First option, allow the product owner to decide unilaterally without involving the development team. Okay. Facilitate a discussion between the product owner and development team to reach a shared understanding and resolve the conflict. Great. Option C, let the team members work it out on their own and avoid interference. So again, you can't just run away from your responsibility. So option C is not making sense. Option D suggests that the product owner ignore the development team's feedback and prioritize based on the business needs. Obviously, that's also not a solution. You can't just ignore development team's feedback. And going back to option A and B, allow the product owner to decide. No, again, product owner himself cannot decide. So you see, when you have such complex scenario-based questions, you can try to eliminate the other options, and then when you start eliminating the wrong answers, you will eventually end up with the right answer. In this case, it looks option B, and yes, option B is the right answer as well, because again, I said look for those keywords: facilitate, right? Facilitate, and then help, and then try to resolve the conflict, which are main uh, duties of a Scrum Master as well, right? Hope I was able to explain it to you. If you, yeah, if you're having any feedback on any of these questions, please do not shy, and then provide your feedback in the comment section. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question 25. Which of the following best describes how the Scrum Master ensures that Scrum is being used correctly in the organization? Yes. So, Scrum and Agile, these are also mindsets, as you know, right? So, it is very important to actually ensure that it's being used correctly in your team, in your group, in your organization. So, the option A is by instructing teams to follow a strict project management process. Option B, by educating and coaching the organization on Scrum practices, facilitating Scrum events, and removing impediments to success. Well, after this, I don't think we should read the next two, but still, let's see. By focusing on enforcing deadlines and ensuring all the team members are productive. The last option, by creating reports for senior management for Scrum team performance. So I'm sure you must have guessed it so far. The right answer looks option B, which talks about educating, coaching, facilitating, and then removing impediments as well. All these keywords. Look out for those keywords always here. Moving on. Next question is, which of the following is the Scrum Master's role in facilitating the sprint planning meeting? Okay, the first one, Scrum Master decides the work the team should commit to. The Scrum Master helps the team understand the goals and facilitates the discussion, ensuring a productive session. C option, the Scrum Master is not involved in the planning process as it's the responsibility of the development team. The last one, the Scrum Master reviews and approves the work that should be committed to during sprint planning. Last two doesn't make sense. First two, again, A doesn't make sense because the Scrum Master cannot decide the work. So the right answer is option B. Scrum Master helps the team understand the goals and facilitates the discussion, ensuring the productive session, right? That is what is done in a sprint planning session, sprint planning meeting. Question 27. How should a Scrum Master deal with the product owner who is consistently unavailable for key meetings? Oh, such as sprint planning and sprint review. That's an interesting question. So if product owner himself is not available actually for these key meetings like sprint planning and sprint review, what should a Scrum Master do? The first option, the Scrum Master should take over the product owner's responsibility temporarily. Okay, interesting. Option B, the Scrum Master should escalate this issue to upper management to handle the product owner's absence. Okay. Option C, the Scrum Master should work with the product owner to identify the reasons for unavailability and find the solutions to ensure they are available. The last option, the Scrum Master should stop scheduling meetings until the product owner becomes available. Well, this looks really a tricky and very good question, I would say. Okay. So think about it. I mean, has this ever happened in your teams ever? And if yes, what was the action taken in those cases? Can you please share your experience and provide in the comment section? Meanwhile, we will wait for the right answer. Hope you are guessing the right answer, and let's look at the right option. Here is option C. Scrum Master should work with the product owner to identify the reasons for unavailability and find solutions to ensure they are available. Of course. So if you look at the other options, Scrum Master is like sort of escalating or taking over or like stop the meetings until it's available. These are not really good options. But if you look at this one, here we see that Scrum Master is trying to work with product owner to understand the reasons for unavailability and then together find a solution to ensure they are available, right? So yeah, I mean, if you're not sure and if you look at the options again and again, I'm sure the right answer will pop up automatically to your mind, right? But as I said, I mean, I haven't seen any such scenario. If you have seen any, please share your experience in the comment section. For now, let's move on to the next question. Question 28. Which of the following Scrum artifacts is maintained by the Scrum Master to ensure transparency of work completed during the sprint? Which of the following Scrum artifacts? Okay. Product backlog or sprint backlog or definition of done or a sprint burn down chart. So which talks about transparency of work completed during the sprint. So if you know about burn down chart is basically about the completion of the work in the sprint, right? And rest all other options are not really linked with work completion. So this is the right answer, option D. Okay, I'm sure you are aware about product backlog, what is sprint backlog, definition of done. We have covered all three options in previous questions. And yeah, so the sprint burn down chart is the one through which during the sprint the Scrum Master can really share the progress and also provides the transparency, right? That this is the work completed so far by our team. All right, let's move to the next question. Question 29. What is the role of the Scrum Master when a development team is facing technical challenges that hinder the ability to work within the sprint? The options are the Scrum Master should provide technical solutions for the team. Option B, the Scrum Master should remove obstacles, offer guidance, and help the team collaborate with external resources if needed. Option C, the Scrum Master should increase the length of the sprint to accommodate the technical challenges. The last option is the Scrum Master should ask the team to skip the technical challenge and focus on easier tasks. Okay, so as I said, we can implement the rule of elimination, and if you read the options carefully, you will be able to guess the right answer. And the right answer is option B. Again, it's related with Scrum Master's roles and responsibilities. So he should remove obstacles, offer guidance, and help the team collaborate with external resources if needed. Yeah. All right, let's move to the next one. Question 30. What is the main benefit of conducting a sprint retrospective? So I think a sprint retrospective was covered in a different way in initial questions in the video. But yeah, so what is the main benefit? Option A, to review the progress made during the sprint, to analyze the sprint goal and whether it was achieved, to reflect on the sprint process and identify ways to improve team performance in the next sprint, or to plan the next sprint task. I think it's a similar question, yeah. So, as I said, in sprint retrospective, we look back and see and try to inspect and adapt and reflect, right? So, the right answer should be option C, to reflect on the sprint process and identify ways to improve team performance in the next sprint. Hope it is clear and I was able to really explain these questions. And I would say these are really very tricky and very confusing questions at times. But if you have the right understanding of these terms, I'm sure after this video, you will be able to answer those questions with confidence. Okay, I think let's wrap it up for now. And thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, please do not forget to like, comment, provide your feedback in the comment section, share it, and also subscribe my channel, Positive Vibes, for such more videos on Agile and Scrum. Okay, thank you so much. Hope to see you again. Till then, goodbye and take care.